LPW can be considered the NXT, the Student Showcase show. Maybe that'd be like another chapter in my legacy story, would be winning that LPW championship.
What's it like training with Red?
We're just excited, we're hungry, and we're trying to prove ourselves out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Ramblin' Bout Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Nick Pearl, and today I'm joined by LPW and HOG wrestler Billy M. Kidd. Billy, how we doing?
Good, Nick. It's a pleasure to be on. I'm honored. I know you've been coming to our shows all the time, and it's been a pleasure to meet you, and I'm excited for this. Excited to talk about wrestling. My first ever podcast, so it's great doing it with you.
It means a lot, just watching you perform. You're a genuine good guy. For me to have the opportunity to give you your first podcast, first interview, I mean, it really means a lot to me too. So thank you for coming on. Thanks for agreeing to this.
No problem. You're a genuine good fan. You're a good fan. You would say, yeah. We love those. Yeah, we love those. I heard some cheers for De Niro and DTS the other night. I don't compromise. I bet that wasn't you though.
Nah, probably was the little kid next to me. That kid was screaming the whole time. So in LPW, you have a trophy. Before we get into who Billy M. Kidd is, what is this trophy that you have?
I have the piece of it that's still left of it right here. This is the top piece that all that was remaining from it. And you can see right here, if I zoom in a little bit, this is Legacy Pro Wrestling Ascension. That was my debut back in June at LPW, my pro wrestling debut. And it kind of coined the name of myself that I figured I'd be as a legacy ascending. So yeah, that was my first match. It was the 20-man battle royal. It's our like honorable and kind of staple match that we have in LPW. It's one of the fan favorites. Everyone, all family, friends come out to. Winning that trophy was a lot to me. It represented my legacy, my story, and everything. But unfortunately, at Uncompromised, it was broken by DTS and used against me. I kind of got a little distracted when Austin Carter grabbed it. But it was tough. But I realized after that, shortly after, even having conversations with my mom, I've won plenty of trophies in my life, but for some reason, this one was the most meaningful to me. But I just realized it's just a trophy. It's just something. It's just a small staple, small chapter on kind of my story and my legacy story that's just beginning, and there's more to come from it. My mom was nice enough to, as all mothers are, nice Italian's mom was able to repair it and let me keep it as a kind of token and remembering that special night for me.
Little bit of hot glue.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, so every LPW show you guys have a battle royal. The winner always gets a trophy.
Yes, they do. So when I won it, which was 2 shows ago, there was this trophy. It was an Ascension trophy, and it's kind of usually a thing we like to do as a tradition. The past winner likes to get the next trophy. They do that in certain, like, they have fantasy leagues or even wrestling promotions too. It's kind of like a nice passing of the torch in our eyes. So so in my mind, I thought of another cool trophy, and then the show you came at was, I thought we have an inaugural for this battle royal, have a legacy cup. We have LPW, which is Legacy Pro Wrestling, and that's where I come in, and I thought I fit so perfectly at, because I'm a legacy ascending, and we could talk more about that. But yeah, I thought a cool idea would be getting a cup, kind of like the Heritage Cup in NXT. And so that's when at Uncompromised, there was the first Battle Royal winner, Legacy Cup, which was Frankie Forearms. That he's a kind of a sicko with his skewers, but he won it fair and square. He pulled out all the tricks he needed to win. Currently, our LPW champion is Oni King. And me and Oni King go a little back and forth. We actually met each other at the House of Glory High Intensity show, which was one of our biggest shows of the year. So we have LPW. Think of it like, for the viewers out there who don't necessarily know, LPW can be considered the NXT, the Student Showcase show. and then you have House of Glory, which could be that WWE level. Maybe that'd be like another chapter in my legacy story would be winning that LPW championship.
I could definitely see that in your future. And Oni King, he really is a beast.
Yeah, yeah, he's a big boy.
Big boy.
You see the maybe the height not be there, but the meat, the size, the mass is there, and those strikes come with it. You feel the pounds on it.
Watching all the talent that came out. It's not like you go to like an AEW show, you go to WWE show, everybody's established names.
Hmm.
These are all people that you're seeing for pretty much the first time. Like I've seen you before, obviously.
Hmm.
And I think I actually saw I High Intensity, was that the one that Swerve was at? Was he the main event?
Yes, Swerve was the main card, the main event against Amazing Red, who everyone
That was a
should know
crazy
it.
match.
Yeah, it was wild. It was for Swerve. It was everyone has Red as their dream match. So for Swerve and hearing the words he said for it, and it was just insane. I think Red flew into the crowd of that match. Like he's been doing a couple shows now. I'm losing count.
High Intensity, I got general admission. The show
Okay.
after that I was on the stage. That's when you
Oh,
walked
you
around.
got upgraded, huh? You upgraded
I
us
upgraded.
to the sick way.
The Joe
Yeah.
Hendry one.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, I'd watch out the stage though. There's a few cold-blooded killers who come out to these hog shows. I don't know. Charles Mason just escaped jail, so who knows when he's showing up again. So I'd watch it on the stage there.
Yeah, I may have to stay out of the aisle, maybe go a seat or two in. I don't want to get beat. I don't want to get hurt.
Let one of your boys that you come with, or your brother or someone, let them sit closer. Like take them as a bait.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like I was saying, it's just really cool to see a bunch of young talent just going out there and performing. And I really enjoyed the LPW show I was at.
I'm pretty sure I think House of Glory might have started as like similar to LPW in the case like a young talent student show and with the name Amazing Red as our trainer and everyone wanted to come out. Like now you see Swerve, all these dudes coming and wanting to fight Red. I think that's how it kind of started out and little by little it grew. Amazing Red and Brian Excel build a uh, a staple, an amazing, like one of the most, probably one of the top, if not the top, independent wrestling companies in the country right now. For our viewers out there, I definitely recommend following us on Instagram and keeping following up with our like me and a lot of other my friends and everyone except DTS. Don't follow DTS. We're just excited. We're hungry and we're trying to prove ourselves out there. And so that's why when you come to a show, you like how you said you could feel that energy, and it makes us feel better. It makes us want to do. It makes us better in the ring, and just we love that. We all we're doing is trying to prove ourselves and put on a good show for everybody, and have some good fights in there.
I just love that energy. There's just something about going into an independent wrestling show that's so much different than going to like the big time. Where I'm sure you're gonna be at the on the big time in like 10 years from now, give or take.
Hopefully,
I got high hopes for you.
I appreciate that, Nick. Hopefully, that should be every wrestler's dream in pro wrestling. I know Amazing Red, like one of the first questions he asks you when you start at training at school, he'll say, "Why do you do this? Because you're crazy. Why are you wrestling? Why are you taking bumps in there? Why are you throwing strikes? Why are you hitting people? You see little kids in the crowd, and you feel like a rock star almost, but." You also think too that you got to have in the back of your mind that that is the ultimate goal is WWE or anything being signed and doing this professionally is a goal and just being able to a bigger platform to tell your story.
What's it like training with Red and everybody at the school? I've always wondered.
Red's just the best. So when I first signed up to House of Glory Training School, it was back in 2019 before COVID. I uh, I have a best friend of mine that I grew up. His name's Gio. We call him Gov. And I tell you, he's like a wrestler name too. We grew up biggest wrestling fans. He actually went to high school with one of the best tag teams in House of Glory, and that's Main Event. He went to high school with Midas.
Wow.
Hmm. And first, let me just say about those dudes, man. They not only are just mentors to us, and they help Red as long as many others, and that just shows to Amazing Red's leadership and his ability to teach us and the amazing school that he runs. But back to Midas, him and Lion, they deserve it. And tomorrow we'll be at House of Glory, Live for the Moment. They're getting an opportunity of a lifetime to go against the Hardy Boys. That's freaking sweet, man. Talk about a dream match. They deserve it. I've always talked to my friend about it. I was like, oh man, I think I should do it. Like, I wasn't happy with my life, and I felt like there's just something better out there for me. I think I need a change. I need something. And he told me, he's like, yo, there's a wrestling school. There's a House of Glory wrestling school right here in Ridgewood, Queens, like right where we live. And I'm in Brooklyn, so it's not far at all. And so I finally decided to go. I remember the first day I went too. I was waiting Brian Excel, who is the owner, along with Amazing Red of the school. I remember I was meeting up with him and I like shaking in my car, trying to get out, thinking if this is the right thing. And I think it was just nerves. It's like when you get butterflies. And I just thought like I could see in the future. I was just like, I'm supposed to do this. Like there's a reason why I said to my friend this and I drove here. I've heard the name Amazing Red before. I know he was a big thing in TNA, and you'll find out this about me, Nick. I'm not the biggest wrestling encyclopedia. Like I grew up mainly on the main roster watching WWE, so you weren't really on WWE. I didn't know. It was until later that I opened my eyes up to New Japan, to more even. I've watched TNA and Impact back then, but when the first day when I met him and he walked in the class, you get a little starstruck, like, okay, wow, that's him. I wondered, like, how he was going to be, but he's just one of the guys, like when it comes down to it, and he's trying to teach you and bestow wisdom upon you. And he's got so much knowledge and experience of how he started. And he is what you would think he is, man, in real life. And he proves that in the ring too, when he fights. One day it's kind of like a graduation in our eyes of having a match with him. I hope he's still wrestling by that time, and I hope I'll be able to maybe have a match with him. That would be a dream match of mine for sure.
I mean, Amazing Red really is amazing.
Yeah, that's no pun intended, literally.
Yeah, not at all. So you say that you were at a really low point in your life. You weren't happy.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to go be a pro wrestler? Like, I know you and your friend, you guys talked about it, but was there a point in time where you decided, I think this is exactly what I need? Like, you needed something to fill that void?
Yeah, I can't necessarily pin an exact date on it or moment. I think there was a few that just built up. So to get into like who is Billy M. Kidd and the whole story and all that, it started out. Yeah, I grew up like any normal student and athlete. Like many other people have their own talents and grew up trying to do the best they could in school, the best they could in sports. My first dream in life was to actually be a New York Yankee. I'm a big Yankee fan. I grew up playing baseball since I was 4 years old. That was my sport. I played college baseball, and I came to a point where I realized like dream of being a New York Yankee wasn't in the cards for me. So I did the best I could in school. Got a nice accounting job. Long hours. Not a career that I enjoyed. People I worked with, I had many great experiences, but it takes a toll on you, like anything that you don't want to do in life that you're really not supposed to. I believe I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and many other movies will say this. Like there's force out there, there's energy, there's just something that like fate that if you ignore it, it's gonna hit you eventually. There's like you go through trials and tribulations of stuff. And eventually, I was doing accounting for about 7 years. My last year was just a lot of changes happened. There was a bigger company bought my company out. And you think of that corporate lifestyle, how it is. It caused a lot of anxiety, depression in my life. I've had some other debts too in the family around the time that I was dealing with, and there was just a lot of demons, a lot of negativity going on, and it was something beyond my control. I just couldn't control it. I had no idea what was happening. And I was in my job and I just like it was just getting tougher and tougher. I was trying to go through the days and I was like, tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. A year went by and it never got better. So so I said I started at House of Glory in 2019
Hmm.
and I had and the reason why I feel bad for the lost time I could have had in the ring. I didn't debut earlier was because I didn't know who I was and I had to stop wrestling. I had to stop training because of this job, because tax season would come and it'd be out for months. Then COVID happened, which is another big thing in life that happened that affected so many people, caused a lot of mental health issues from COVID and anxiety and depression. So I know there are a lot of listeners out there that have gone through it and are still going through it. And I'm here to tell you my story, and this is the foundation of my story is that there's the right path and there's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for you if you just keep fighting and trying to figure out make that change in your life. And that's exactly what I did in last year in 2023. I reached out to a couple of friends of mine that were out House of Glory still, and I said I want to go back. I want to be back. I was in my job and I was working from home and I was going through what I went through. There was something in my mind. I felt that was out there and all I thought about was wrestling. How I felt like I gave up on it and I gave up on the idea of telling my story and reaching out to so many people I don't even know and try to help them. So that was kind of the breaking point. I stopped. I quit my job in last year in December. I went back to House of Glory. Of course, bills got to be paid. I tried finding another job and everything, and eventually my path ended up being that I became a certified personal trainer, and that's another way I reach out to people and help people in ways and I just forgot about the money in that aspect. And I learned that it's more about happiness and what you want to do. And so I started doing personal training and that aspect. And I got back into training heavily. I was able to go more often as I quit my job. And I thought this was way past and never going to happen because I took it 7 years ago and I thought I was way down on the list and I was done. But just as COVID had ruined and messed up a lot of people, and it also kind of helped and made realizations for it. And what I'm talking about here was that I took the FDNY test 7 years ago for New York City to be a New York City firefighter. But my dad was a New York City firefighter, so there was something special about that test that resonated with me. I was 12,000 on the list
Mm.
because so many 80,000 people took it. But here we are 7 years later. Because of COVID, they extended. So many people retired. And here, another opportunity, another door opened up just as one door closed. So this helped me kind of find my character. I found who Billy M. Kidd was. My dad is named Billy. And in the firehouse, they already call him Billy the Kid after that outlaw cowboy movie. I found my character. I always wanted to, I looked up to my dad. He's my hero. I know you like my entrance song, the Holding Out for a Hero. That was always, as a kid growing up, that was always played at his events. And he was my hero in my eyes. And I always wanted to be like him. He's the example. And I asked him first, of course, and he let me become the new legacy ascending Billy M. Kidd and take after his name. And now, after everything I've gone through in life, and I'm here, I'm at House of Glory, I'm at LPW, and I'm so excited to tell and having fans like you being on this podcast and the support and everyone out there. It's just truly amazing, and it's like a vision coming to life. And it's what I was all the anxiety, everything I've thought about wasn't for no reason. It's a meant to be kind of thing, and I'm here, and I'm excited for the future, and that is who Billy M. Kidd is.
So that really is truly an inspiring story. You persevering through all of your hardships, being an advocate for mental health, all of these things. You really are a great spokesperson. You're a man of the people. So I see it even going to the LPW shows, going to HOG. You just walking around, just talking to everybody, just yourself. Um, so becoming a wrestler, what made you gravitate towards wrestling? Why didn't you become a drummer? Why didn't you become a teacher? Why didn't you do a normal thing? Why did you go so out there?
I mean, you could ask like what is normal, right? I mean, let's see. In speaking of legacy and being my dad was a aside from firefighter, he's a construction worker too. So there's so many different arts and talents out there. Wrestling though was I've watched. I mean, we all watched starting out as a kid. There was nothing like watching Monday Night Raw or building up to WrestleMania and the Royal Rumbles and all that. Especially that the era we grew up in. It was just outside of the Attitude Era. We caught a glimpse of that. Probably grew up a little too fast watching that, watching some of that stuff. Then dudes like Eddie Guerrero and Edge, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, Triple H, and I think when, like you said, when we talked about it too, you kind of see a little similarities, and there's no shying away for who's my favorite. That happens to be John Cena. So seeing that, like watching John Cena wrestle, coming out that first time against Kurt Angle, watching that, and even just more so, aside from wrestling, the idea of being a rock star, in which that's what wrestlers are, man. Having a crowd cheer for you, having kids and adults have the emotions that drive people in professional wrestling. That ability is crazy, and that's what we all look for. Yeah, so I think it was that. I think it was the idea of being a rock star in people's eyes that wrestlers looks cool, and getting to fight people is kind of cool too. I grew up watching John Cena. He's my favorite superstar. A lot of people kind of gave me similarities that I look like him. So
I
uh,
mean, I could see it. You
yeah,
just the only difference between you and Cena is you don't have the little, the little bald spot on your head.
I'm still young. I'm still a kid now, so I don't jinx me now. I do got like a marine style haircut, which I know we're going to talk about later, which is something cool I did yesterday, and I was telling you about. So kind of maybe started my John Cena career a little early, maybe. A lot of people try to create too much and go away from the old stuff. They don't want to just do a move and like say John Cena's when we were kids it was FU and now it's switched to the AA. But you do a move like that and I've kind of coined that as my finisher and I've taken it and I hope he's okay with that. I would love his blessing for it. It's a fireman's carry. So that kind of goes along with uh, my legacy to become a firefighter.
You know what's funny about that? When Jay and I were at the LPW show, Jade was saying he really reminds me of John Cena. Like a lot of his moves, they're all this like similar things. I said, well, he's about to do an attitude adjustment. I said, wait a minute. His dad was a firefighter. He's doing a fireman's carry to take over. I knew it right away. But it's
Mhm.
genius that you're taking all those moves like from your real life and just making them your own.
That's exactly what it is. I just felt like it was fitting and it works. My dad always taught me the old tricks work and working out in life, everything is people have been doing stuff for thousands of years, you know. Take boxing, for example. I do a lot of boxing. I have a gym, Universal Boxing in Queens. That's amazing. And they brought me in as a family. A lot of great young boxers there. Amazing. The jab's always been a move. No one, how can you change the jab? How can you the cross, the combinations are still there. So I think a lot of issues maybe nowadays with professional wrestling, as it's been a couple of years, is the ones coming up. They see a move and they're worried that oh I do an attitude adjustment. It's only going to think of John Cena. Take Kevin Owens for example, doing the Stone Cold Stunner, and people were like, oh he can't do that. He can't do that. It's a stunner. People do it in different ways, but when you get a little too crazy, it doesn't look. It looks a little too much. So some people make it cool and it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. The creativity's there. Keep go for it. But why not stick with the old tricks? Like the fireman's carry, the AA. I call it the FF. The old tricks work. A phrase I coin and I'm looking to say a little bit more. And that goes with mental health and everything too. Is my dad used a Navy SEAL saying was give life a kiss. So and when you say kiss, it means keep it simple, stupid. So why make things complicated? I had a few people after the last show. I'm sure you remember that spear I gave Moon Spider.
Oh yeah.
When people came up to me, he's like, "Oh, you gonna like modify it? You gonna do anything different?" I'm like, "Do you think that spear needed modifying? I don't think so."
No, you take what's there, and then
Hmm.
you put your own little spin. Like it could be a normal FF, but
Hmm.
what you do after it, like what you're doing before it, your facial expressions, that's what everybody's gonna
Yeah.
remember.
The psychology of it. You're fighting someone in a fight. The FF, it's a slam on the back. I need to maybe break their back a little bit more. Like any kind of fight, that's what it is. You're jabbing away. That's why you watch like ring generals like Gunther and those guys work. And it's simple and it's just effective. I think the crowd likes it, and I think I'm going to continue rocking it and take after him. I kind of even alluded to him a little bit. I pay tribute to his ruthless aggression, John Cena era in the beginning. That's where the model of my shorts and everything comes from. So, not saying that I'm doing jean shorts next. I'm not. I won't be doing jean shorts, but I from time to time have worn them, and uh, my friends are like, "What jean shorts on back?" I'm like, "Oh, I could bring them back, but no, I won't be wearing jean shorts in the wrestling anytime soon in the wrestling ring."
I got a pair of jean shorts. They're very, if more people wore them, it would be fine. This is
No, they work. They work.
So what brought you back to wrestling now? Because you recently, 2019, you said you just started coming back into it. Like what moment in specific?
Well, that's a good question, Nick. There's wrestling kind of had a little lull of times, maybe in like the mid 2000s, late 2000s. That a lot of people, a lot of our people our age, kind of fanned out of it. So there's two moments in particular. One, I went over to a friend's house in Staten Island, and I watched an NXT takeover. And it was the one when they had that the one match I remember. I know there was other great matches. I think it might have been no, I think Aleister Black was in it. Like I said, I'm not the best encyclopedia. This is where I might need you to come in and help me. The six-way ladder match. I know it was Adam Cole,
North American title?
North American
First
title
one? Oh, I
debut.
could tell you everybody in there. Nobody's in the
Ricochet
company anymore.
debuted. EC3,
Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane,
Killing Dane. Yes, that's what's
Damo. He's
Damo
Big
now.
Damo now. He's married to Nikki Cross.
That's what I was gonna say. Married to Nikki Cross, who I met. Really, Nikki Cross. I met at an Access, which I'm gonna get to my
Oh
segue.
yeah.
But that she's awesome, Nikki Cross in person. When I got to meet her at Access, but that match was and Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen. How
I
we
know,
forget him?
and I'm upset what happened with him and everything because he's just a star in the making. But that match, man, that just like brought was a match to bring you back to wrestling. Which and from my first show from LPW Ascension when I won the Battle Royal, I had my friends bring their friends, and they told me that they went back like at home and the next day started watching like WWE, started watching SmackDown, and just because of the show, because of our match, and that was like it brought like almost tears to my eyes. Aside from like seeing kids in the crowd, like being able to draw an audience like that and bring it back to wrestling. That was like an honor. And that's what that ladder match, that six-way ladder match for the North American title did for me. And that era of NXT was just phenomenal. I mean, Aleister Black, I think Aleister Black and was it Gargano and maybe Ciampa? I know they had matches in
They
that
had
card.
a whole kind of like a whole feud with their Champa.
Mhm.
Gargano, I think there was one match where Gargano, I think he pinned Aleister Black. I could be wrong, but there
Yeah,
was a match. It was non-title. Crowd went nuts.
yeah.
It was on just a regular NXT taping.
Man, I was locked into that NXT. I even told Brian XL when I signed up to House of Glory training, I was like, man, this is it. That Adam Cole and Gargano trilogy was just amazing. Like I think I saw two of those. I went to the Barclays, the takeover at Barclays. I know Gunther versus Pete Dunne. That was Gunther's debut in NXT. And Adam Cole, Gargano. And then I even went up to Connecticut, one of the shows in Connecticut. That Connecticut show had another amazing match. I know the name of the podcast is Rambling About Wrestling, right? I know we rambled about my life story, Billy and Kid, and I'll tell it to everyone until they hear it. But this is about rambling about wrestling, right? We could
Yes, it
ramble.
is.
So yeah, that was just it, just bringing smiles back to my face. That Connecticut takeover was it had a ladder match for the tag titles,
The Street
and that's
Profits,
when
is it the one they won?
Profits. I told my friend, I was like, "This is Street Profits match. They got to win this. This is it. This is they're it." It was awesome. I think even Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler match. There was a fatal four way. Io Sky, who is just awesome and amazing. So that whole NXT takeover was me, and I wish it was still to this day, but it's nice seeing them on the main roster now. I know there was always some doubts, but man, that was an era that brought me back to wrestling. The icing on the cake was I went to my first ever WrestleMania 35 at MetLife Stadium, the longest WrestleMania probably ever, and I think that was the last one for a single show
Did
for a
that end it
single
like,
night.
was that like a 1 in the morning show it ended?
Yeah, that ended at 1 in the morning. Luckily, we drove and we tailgated before and post tailgated after. I remember seeing videos the next day of it coming down on people who took the train, and that might have influenced them to go to 2 nights. But yeah, and I think there was controversy with that about that. I loved it that it was the double title for the women's championship. Awesome. I legit thought Charlotte Flair was riding a helicopter down and going to land it in MetLife Stadium. That would have been sick. I think there was some controversy with that pin, right? If I'm mistaken, that with Rousey, if Rousey had her shoulders down or not.
Oh
Is that?
yeah, I don't know if she went into business for herself or what, but those
Yeah.
shoulders, they were not down.
The
And they
roll up,
played
the
it off.
roll up, I always thought was interesting because it's kind of like you had so many good matches and the build up, and then for it to be like 12:30, 1 a.m. and just like a roll up, you're like, what just happened? Like, what?
Especially after a long show like that, people are tired. If you're gonna do a finish out of nowhere like that, you gotta have some type of crescendo.
From Hulk Hogan starting the show. Like my mom tells me stories about when she was a kid, and that's who she saw wrestle. And she'd go to a show and she tapped Hulk Hogan's, uh, like touched him, and that's like even what Amazing Red talks about a lot in the school is you see guys now they're not the size ain't there different. I mean I know maybe steroids ain't there, but it's people will look at Hulk Hogan and all these dudes, they're larger than life. And that's what we try to look at. We try to be like larger than life figures for kids. And that's what having dreams. But seeing Hulk Hogan wrestle, John Cena, The Rock, gave goosebumps. It's like history went through my veins of wrestling. And then just the rest of the night, just like the pops that were there, and the Miz Shane match, being in the crowd. I looked over to my friend middle of the show and I said, I got to do this. I just gotta. I could do this. If I can't, I at least tried. And so next thing that's when I signed up for House of Glory Wrestling School. And 4 years later, Billy M. Kidd was born when he finally found himself. Remember when Survivor Series? That was probably the best Survivor Series when they invaded.
It is such a missed opportunity for them to not have Keith Lee pin Roman Reigns.
Even in the Rumble too, Brock sold Keith Lee, man. His face when
Oh
he's
my
like,
God.
"Whoa, we're a big boy." So they were all about it. It's such a missed opportunity with Keith Lee. He was the man. Everything now is just hitting. We always talk about in LPW, all the guys in LPW, how cool it would be to maybe eventually do a Survivor Series and invade House of Glory. But
Ooh, that would be a pretty cool idea that you got
mhm,
there.
think of the matches that we could have.
You just got to brand a show after that, and then you get one or two big names to come in, and then that's how you get your big crowd.
Oh, 100%. It would be awesome. It would be awesome. But there's a couple ideas. I know we've been doing a lot of great things with LPW. We just had and this is Oni King and Jody Ora, who kind of the starting pieces of LPW. They're amazing dudes, amazing wrestlers, and sky's the limit for them. They're doing great. No, they're representing the brand amazing. That we just had in late summer we just had a Afro Punk show. We collabed with Afro Punk, which is a huge festival about Black culture, and it was just amazing to be a fan there and admire everything going there. And it gives us more ideas of what we could make LPW. I have a friend who DJs for Emo Night Brooklyn, and We talked about the Battle Royal before being our stable show. How cool would it be bringing emo night fans to it, wrestling fans, like all kind of collab. Like that's what I was thinking with that Gargano and Adam Cole storyline. I even watch YouTube videos to this day of it with emo music like that, the rock music. It just fits, you know. Like Danny Darko, one of our cameramen, he's amazing, an amazing photographer.
I love looking at all the stuff he puts up on
Oh
Instagram.
man, he is so talented, and there's so many more talented guys. Like we have Michael Presley and Devin. Man, they are just awesome. But Darko just puts up like these videos of vlogs, and the music just hits. And I was like, I look that cool. I'm like, I never thought I looked that cool. Like, holy shit. So that's why I would watch those videos. So I was saying, yeah, I got a friend who does Emo Night Brooklyn. I was like, how cool would it be to have an emo night, LPW, have him come in the Battle Royal. Hey, Nick, maybe one day you make an appearance in the Battle Royal.
That would be like the highlight of my life.
Dude, we'll make it happen. That'll be
I would love that. I
that
know
would
my
that,
one of my I went to a MLW show and I got my they had I don't know if you know Mr. Saint Laurent. He's like
mhm.
one of the managers there.
Yeah.
He was they were having some technical issues, so he decided to go in the ring and basically call people in from the crowd and do little interviews with them. So I had my
Mhm.
friend next to me. He was wearing the WTF t-shirt, the name of their stable.
Yeah.
And I was just yelling, "He's got your shirt on. Take him in the ring. Take him in the ring." So my friend got to go in the ring and do this interview. He tripped over the bottom rope. I'll never let him live it down.
Oh my God. Oh
But
God.
he got to go in the ring. Maybe it's my turn. Maybe it's my turn to, t toss him up with all the best in LPW.
I'll allow you to give an FF to someone.
I would be so down. So yeah, getting me in the battle royal, I would be. I'm just gonna advocate for myself a little bit. I got my karate background. I know how to take a back bump. I could do a face bump. I know how to do a roll. I could do it all, baby. I'd be the perfect underdog. Even if I enter it, people don't know I'm there. I could hide under the ring, hide at the side of the crowd, jump on in. We could do a double clothesline.
Mhm.
We could do some tag
That's
team
what
maneuvers.
you're in there and I'm in there. I'll have your back no matter what too, and I know you'll have mine.
Oh,
Hmm.
I'll always have your back. Moving back a little bit to WWE, your favorite wrestler of all time is John Cena. What is your favorite match with him?
Before coming on the show, you asked me this. And I even got excited. I'd like YouTube matches and all this stuff again too. It got me like juiced up again watching this because I was just saying nowadays, like we're older and fans nowadays have like their ideas on how matches should be. Social media, all this affects. So, but you watch old stuff and it brings you back to being a kid. I'll start with my favorite match, Cena match, and that's the first match I ever watched was WrestleMania 20 against the Big Show. That was I know there's a lot of great ones. I know it was Punk feud. I know AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. Like I think that's what your first guess was, either AJ Styles or CM Punk. The Umaga rivalry was amazing, and I just got reminded of it because a new guy now, like up and coming Samoan, that's our House of Glory Crown Jewel champion, Umaga's son, Zilla.
He's a beast.
He's dude. I met him at High Intensity. That's when he won the title,
Hmm.
and I was still a little buzzed and unconscious from some of those Oni King strikes. But I met he was so cool, like one of the boys. He came up to us. That the guy we were paying our dues, breaking down the ring, and he just came after doing all this stuff and with the title, and he's just first he dapped me up, gave me a hug, and I found out what they talk about when they talk about Samoans. These dudes are big. They're just big boned. That's why they're linemen in the NFL. They're just big boys. I went to a GCW show also recently. I got to see him there. Got and remembered me and everything. He was the coolest dude. So maybe Umag, like a similar storyline. John Cena, Umag, like we could get that in the works eventually too. That would be an awesome one.
That I would love to see that. We'll see how long Zilla's even here for. You don't know what his contract status is going to be.
It's just priming them and getting them ready for the big show. They're killing. The Bloodline is the best storyline in pro wrestling. So it's just a matter of time till he joins them. So that match against the Big Show was just amazing. I remember I so we're in Italian. You told me just before we got and when we met you're Italian, and I'm sure how family close your family is. My family grew up living right across the street from each other. My grandpa came from Italy, bought houses on the block, and so all his family could be close. So I went over WrestleMania 20. I was 8, and I went over with my big cousins. That's probably one of the first wrestling shows I've watched. And Dugonomics popped and came out, and it was John Cena, and it was just this. And then right after him was this big monster Big Show who I've seen for the first time, holding a belt that looked like I have even a replica belt. Would you mind if I get it?
Go get it.
You're gonna love whose name is on it. It's only fitting.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That
this is the first
that's a
belt I ever
beauty.
bought as a kid, and I still have it to this day. It sits on my mantle on my TV stand, but it was literally like this kind of small belt, just like it looked like that on a 450, 500 pound human being. It was a David versus Goliath type of match, and that's what wrestling is about. It's that kind of story that people want, and John Cena's had that match throughout his career so many times. How he's gone down and beaten up, and how it's just his comeback is just amazing. And even then, so in that match, because I did watch it. I watched the highlights of it before I got on because I wanted to just refresh my memory and get excited about it. You got me excited about it. Was it reminded me of just his career, how everyone wanted him to turn heel this whole time, right? And even in that match, he was Dugonomics. So you could think of others who are kind of rappers or gangsters kind of characters, and they were eventually people like them. They could be babyface, of course, but they, most of the time they could be heel. Even pulling out, he in order to win, he wrapped the chain around his wrist to hit Big Show. But that's what they needed. He needed to win, and it was a babyface pop still. So I seen that going across the street to my cousin's house, WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden, John Cena come out beating a Goliath and for the United States Championship was just that it's just chills. It gives me chills right now to this day. Like I'm watching it again as a 8-year-old kid. So that's my favorite John Cena match of all time. I have John Cena being the baby face. Randy Orton is my second favorite wrestler. A little of my character is in him too. I take it from him too. I mentioned how since I'm a son of a firefighter and I have fire in my blood, kind of I was born with it. That comes from Randy. That the voices in your head that relates to mental health, all the anxiety I had, but it's all that the voices in my head, the fire, all that creativity. That's fueling me. And Randy was a legacy himself, trying to prove himself. So my favorite match of all time. John Cena's in this match, but it was the other two guys who did it, who made the match. And obviously, John Cena came out on top. 2009 Survivor Series when the triple threat, him versus DX.
Oh, that the
When
opening. I love the opening to
when
that.
you got like triple threat's probably one of my favorite matches. The it's just that match was just had so much storytelling, so much of John Cena's career. I felt like the emotion and his storytelling in that match was just beautiful, and it's one of my favorite matches to watch. I'll probably like once a month I'll go back and watch that match and take stuff from it. Just is so awesome.
Now you're a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
What is some of the hard parts of being a personal trainer? Like you got to always be there for your clients.
Yeah, it's challenging. I think the most challenging was starting something new. Just like wrestling, like anything, like starting something new is always comes with its challenges. I've been interested in my fitness my whole life, playing sports, growing up, being a gym advocate. I've gone to the gym since I was 12 with my dad and my godfather. So I've always been into personal fitness. The challenges are meeting new people and kind of just like wrestling too. You meet new people, you meet new fans, you meet new wrestlers that you're going to wrestle with, and there's different styles. So it's being able to adapt. I think that's a big thing in life is being a very adaptive to a situation. I know because a lot of people worry, and that's where I'm saying anxiety comes from, and so many other fears is change, right? And but you have to take change with as a positive, and it's an opportunity to learn. And so personal training, having a new client, yeah, I love getting the clients that want to put on muscle. I could do that. I could do that. I could teach you how to stretch and squeeze a muscle and build some muscle. I've done weight loss, I've done muscle building, weight gain, sports, but it's those other clients too that want a little different approach to something. Maybe like they see something, a new science, or maybe something else that maybe they have an injury. I'm not the best. I'm an accountant, so I didn't know. My brother was he went to school for chiropractor, and his girlfriend's a PT. So I didn't learn science much and anatomy. So like I'm just taking that opportunity to learn now, and it's making me a better in my workouts and my fitness, helping me, and that helps me in the ring. So I understand the body more. So I like, yeah, the challenges I give advice to, and I take them on, learn, take on the challenges and learn from them. Whether it be any profession you do, any hobby, I'll be open to them. I accomplished the New York City Marathon this year, which was I never thought in my life I'd do that. I used to hate running because it was always a punishment in sports. So I'd done so many different challenges this year: the marathon, a triathlon, Spartan race, pushed myself to limits.
I saw recently when we were texting back and forth, you had a really interesting opportunity the other day.
Hmm. No spoilers or anything. You'll see when it comes out, but just a little tail. Like I said before, I guess I started my little John Cena career early, got the Marine haircut. I had the opportunity to be a scene. His name is Knight, the General Knight's assistant in the show The Equalizer on CBS. Back then, Denzel Washington did the movies. I think there was
Hmm.
even an early show in the 70s where it came from originally. So Queen Latifah made her and a bunch of cast and directors and producers created a show a couple years ago. It's about ex-army vet who's kind of on her own and taking like a little vigilante, I'd say, of taking care of business, but in a good way, a vigilante of taking care of business and getting equal and taking care of the bad guys. It's something I've been interested in doing is becoming an actor. I made a profile and saw this opportunity. Like I said, opportunities present themselves, take it on. So I just applied and I got the message the next day that I fit the description.
Oh, it only took a day.
Only took a day.
That,
Hmm.
that's crazy.
I have a family of cops, military. My dad obviously being a firefighter, a bigger background role than I thought because I got to meet Queen Latifah and got to be in a scene with her. So
Wow.
in the upcoming future, I'm not sure exactly when the show is going to drop. I know they're in the mid-season break of season 5, but I know they didn't tell me I'm just a background actor, just a featured background role. So I don't get too many details, but I will be on an episode of The Equalizer, playing a General Knight's assistant and walking Latifah to the general.
That's incredible. I can't wait to watch it.
I never thought in my life I'd be doing a scene with Queen Latifah. I mean, I grew up watching her movies and The Voice in Ice Age, so.
Yeah.
And she was just the best too, and she was so nice. I was able to introduce myself. She shook my hand, and we were able to joke in between takes. She was the best. So I'm hoping to continue doing that and being maybe featured in some shows and movies and just like wrestling, you don't know where it could take you. So I just love telling a story and being part of something creative, just a creative flow, just the mind just keeps going, and I'm excited to be part of something great. The makeup was something I wasn't used to. I thought I was gonna have it done before, and they were on set in between takes, final like look, and I just looked to my right, and they just started doing my makeup. I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay,
Wow.
well, I'll take it. You know, I don't have the best skin. Like I said, no one's perfect. I don't have the best skin like some people I know do. I know that I see you. You got some great skin looking too. So
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, you definitely got to start somewhere, and it's good to just get your name out there too. Not even just as an actor. People look, that's Billy M. Kid the wrestler. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's all about exposure. All right, so Billy, when's the next show that we'll be able to see you at? Other than HOG tomorrow night, the next
yeah.
LPW.
I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to tomorrow night seeing you in person. I know. I was hoping maybe one day we could do this podcast again in person. That would be kind of cool. But messing around like like McAfee's podcast or Stone Cold, kind of. I think that would be cool.
Oh yeah, one day we'll definitely make it happen.
Nice. So our next LPW show is going to be January 18th on a Saturday night. It's going to be LPW First Strike. It's the first show of the new year, First Strike. I know I'll be trying to get the first strike in whatever match the GM and the bookers decide for me. I look to get even against DTS, who broke my trophy. There's a couple of mine. I think a couple ideas in mind I have for it. I would love the support of my fellow wrestlers like Rat King. There's a couple others in mind I know that want to get back at DTS and hey, maybe if I even come out on top, I'll be in our staple of the our battle royal. And now that get another trophy, get that cup, and just build up to my case for an LPW championship match and my revenge against Oni King.
Awesome. Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, I am on Instagram at Billy M underscore kid. I would like to announce that also along. I just dropped my first merch line. I am wearing the shirt right now.
It's a great shirt. I love that design.
hmm It is a remembrance of my first match at LPW Ascension and my win, and this is my rookie year. So along with being my rookie year, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow because I do have a gift for you.
What do you got for me?
I got you your own Billy M Kid merch in the purple, like
Ooh,
the LPW, the purple and blue
I
coloring,
love it.
and you can see on the back it has exactly the LPW Ascension, my date, the name and everything, the date of my match. I did put this up on the shirts are up on prowrestlingtees.com. You will find me if you look up Billy M Kid. But feel free to DM me and order one and get me personally because along with that gift, you will also get, which ain't on it. I'm also gifting my man Nick here from Rambling Podcast, very own my rookie card signed by Billy M Kid himself, BMK. So can't wait to give you this tomorrow, Nick.
I can't wait. That's going to be worth something one day, and I can't wait to put that to my collection.
It's my job to make it worth something, and I'll do my best doing so.
And I'm sure you will. I really have high hopes for you. Like, I'm not even just saying just to say because you're on here. Genuinely, I think you really can make it.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, and it's been an honor being on here, rambling about life, about wrestling, about who knows what. Maybe we'll ramble about girls next. Who knows?
Hey,
But
it'd be nice. You got anybody nice for me?
I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna ask you that. The kid is single, so I was gonna ask. But we're bachelors. Wrestling is our first love, Nick, and
Yes, it
that's what
is.
we're devoting our life to. And if a girl is interested, she has to understand that, and she has to love wrestling too. So. But like I said, Nick, it has been an absolute honor. And from meeting you at LPW Uncompromised, asking me to be on the show and to tell my story, I can't thank you enough. And I hope we could do this again. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And man, this has been awesome. This is my first ever podcast, and oof, man, this is fun.
Yeah, we had a banger episode. Thank you so much for coming on. It really means a lot to me that you had such a great time. Everybody, thank you all for listening, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Let's keep rambling, everybody. Do that pose again, Billy. Let's do that pose. Takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit.